What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is going to be a banner review for the Journey Begins banner, which features a lot of FEH units, and I also made a weapon refiner review and builds video for the units which got those weapons in this update, so you can check that video out in the description. And I also want to thank ShailorMercury as always for the layout. Her link is going to be in the description down as well. So let us begin and let's get started with Midori first. So Midori is a very powerful red archer. If a green is a player phase monster of a red archer, then Midori is an enemy phase monster for a red archer. And I'm also going to be comparing the stats which is speculated with their real stats. This is a thing which I like to do and I have a lot of fun with it. So for Midori, I expected like 37 attack. She ends up having 4 more attack than that. I really never expected her to have more than 40 attack, to be honest. I expected her to have low speed, but she ends up with a really awkward speed stat of 30. Defense is about what I expected and resistance is much lower. So she's not as min-maxed as I thought she would be. But still, you know, she is a really good tank. They're really trying to sell close foil as a skill, you know, targeting her defense and attack and giving her boost with that. But still, nonetheless, by having a res refine and having distant defense, she can still take on some mages here and there. But, you know, her speed is low. She is susceptible to getting doubled. Midori also has an attack super boon on top of her monstrous attack, so she can hit extremely hard. Now, being a colored arch is definitely going to be a hindrance in few matchups, but honestly her attack is so good that even against disadvantageous matchups, she can still do a decent amount of damage. And her weapon is Spendthrift Bow, which gives you +7 attack during the combat and inflicts -7 attack on the foe. And after combat, you get +2 charge of your special, so it increases your special, basically making it really hard for you to trigger your special unless you trigger it in a single round. Now, there are many ways of getting around that with stuff like Brave Lucina's Weapon Refine, having Infantry Rush, Infantry Flash even if you run this on a fast unit, Infantry Breath from Na. So there are a couple of ways you could make use of this, and Brave Lucina is the easiest one because, you know, she is a Chooser Legends 1 unit and has been in the game for a long time. And mainly, like, Midori as a fodder is really good. You could inherit Spendthrift Bow, Rally, and Close Foil at the same time. Close Foil is just a better close counter in a sense. The reason why I say it is that even though you cannot retaliate back to dragons, dragons are not really the hardest units to take out when they are in their player phase. Now, there are definitely some few dragons who are just so monstrous in both phases. Against those kinds of units, you're not really going to be able to have any kind of chance of surviving even one hit. And another reason is that we've got so many weapons which are effective on dragon units that they can easily be taken off. As I said, Brave Lucina with her Weapon Refine does have effective damage against dragons, so once again she can cover her weakness. And we also have someone like Naga who can provide Divine Fang buff in the Ether raids, so you could take out dragons and just snipe off dragons like Duma pretty easily in the Anima season. Now, in the light season, Sothis is pretty common, so there she could be annoying, but she is not really the hardest enemy to take out. The bow does have pretty big drawback, but it honestly balances out the power and the bulk it gives you. And if you decide to fodder her off, then some of the good users of this bow are these units. So Norn is a really good example because her stat line is just so balanced. It's one of the best out of any kind of infantry archer, which is easily available. So she can act both as an offensive unit and also as a defensive unit. So Sidelong Yumi just goes really well with her stat line. And a build like this can work out on her. And it could also run something like Null Follow-Up actually. And another example is Leon. I mean, not Leon particularly, but if you're running this kind of Vantage Sweeper unit in something like Ether Raids or just in general. Now, it does depend on your team composition and also the unit you're running. If that unit's attack is not very high, then yeah, they definitely need close foil. And if you're easily able to snipe up the dragons, which are going to be appearing, then yeah, you should be running close foil. Otherwise, the normal close counter is still pretty good. So yeah, these are just some of the examples of Sidelog Yumi and close foil. For a Vantage Sweeper, Sidelog Yumi does give you +7 attack, which could be pretty helpful. But once again, you know, you're not really going to be able to trigger your special unless you have Brave Lucina or someone similar to that near you. And Midori herself is a really good unit. If you do get one-off copy of her, she's still going to be pretty powerful and going to be packing a punch. So this is just a budget build you could run on her. This is the first build, so just run Quick Riposte, Attack Smoke, and distant defense with a Res Refine, kind of to balance her out so that she can at least take some hits from mages, because she's definitely capable of that. Sidelong Yumi's -7 attack debuff is going to be making her a bit more capable of taking magical hits. Of course, you cannot face dragons, but as I said, that's what the team members are for. And you could also run a build like this, a Vantage Sweeper. This is just an example. If you do want to invest more into it, then you would have to go after the merges. But at the very least, you could get +1 merge, I guess, with the guaranteed free summon if you are interested in some kind of build like this. And you can also run player face builds. Just because she's really good in enemy face doesn't mean you could not use her monstrous attack for some player face action. You could run her with Brave Bow with her high attack and a super boon and attack. She could be really helpful in just taking out a lot of the in-game content with 3 dancers. And another build for that is an AoE special build with Slaying Bow, Blazing Wind. So she can reach really high visible attack, which is going to be extremely powerful with an AoE special. So once again, this is a build you could run with 3 dancers to clear a lot of the in-game content like chain challenges, abyssal map, infernal maps, stuff like that. So Midori is pretty powerful. Even in the player phase with builds like these. The next one we have is Rinkah. So for Rinkah, I did expect her to have 34 attack exactly. She ends up with that. I was pretty accurate with her defense too. I was quite off with the resistance and speed actually. Now looking back at it, her resistance wasn't the highest in Fate, so that's why she's got such low resistance. And Distant Foil being on her should have been an indication. Definitely did not see this much speed coming on Rinkah, honestly. This changes a lot of things for her. This means that she can run Close Call, Repel to a great effect, and use her tanking even better. Like, Rinkah's club is such a good weapon. Not only gives you -1 special cooldown, but it has got 2 conditions which are pretty easy to meet for getting +5 attack and defense, and also special cooldown +1 on each of enemies hits. So either the foe initiates combat on you, you get that effect, or if she's below 100% health. So any of those things are really easily possible. She also has a super boon in speed and defense. Both of these are really good stats. Defense super boon means that she's going to be insanely tanky, and attack super boon opens up a lot of options for stuff like Close Call, Repel, and also the fact that she can function in player phase as well. So you could trigger something like Ignis in a player phase. Gotta watch out for resistance and HP Super Bane, of course. HP Super Bane is not going to be nice for tanking, and Rinkah is just a powerful melee tank. Her resistance is really low, so she has got clear strengths and weaknesses. So just do not put her against mages, dragons, or anything of those nature, and she should be fine against most of the physical enemies. And she is really powerful and very fast, and the speed actually translates to her bulk because she cannot really get doubled by too many enemies, so her survivability is a bit better. So that could always help you in the enemy phase. As for her builds, these are some of the builds you could run. The first build is a budget build. Steady Posture is a really good option on her, seeing as her speed. After some speed support, she can naturally double. You don't really need something like Quick Riposte. And Attack Smoke is a bit better than her wave skill in my opinion. And the second build is using Special Spirals. So this is the Thanos Ike build basically. The idea of this build is that you charge up your Special Spiral and your Ether becomes a 2-turn cooldown special. So whenever any kind of enemy attacks you, you instantly retaliate back with Ether and heal up a lot of HP, and that is super good for longevity. I personally use this kind of build on my Legendary Ike, and I just auto battle him for a lot of chain challenges, and he does a fantastic job. So something like this could definitely be run, and if you do have some speed support on her, then you can run something else in Sacred Seal over a Quick Riposte. And the third build is basically using Close Call. As I said, because of her speed super boon, she can definitely make use of this with Speed Smoke and Phantom Speed Sacred Seal. Phantom Speed does help her, increase her speed so that she can take less damage from Close Call. And as I was saying, something cute like this can also be run for the player phase. Remember, not only her weapon works in the enemy phase, but can also work if she's below 100% health, which gives you the opportunity to use this in the player phase with a build like this. Fury does synergize with her weapon along with Wrath, and because of her speed, she can trigger Ignis in a single round of combat once her weapon is activated, because she will attack a foe, that foe will counter attack, and then she's able to trigger Ignis and just nuke them into shreds. And this build can be run if you're interested in a player phase build. But yeah, she can function both ways, in enemy phase and in the player phase. Depends on which one you want to run. And this kind of build is also even better with a speed super boon where she's going to be doubling a lot. The next thing that we have is Lilith. So for Lilith, I was definitely absolutely on point. Expected 36 attack, bingo. 40 speed, she ends up with 41. And for defense and resistance, just switch them up and you will have the same thing. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my speculation on Lilith. was pretty spot on actually, even though she didn't really trigger any kind of special or anything of that nature. Maybe I am the intern-kun, who knows. So Astral Breath is a 16-might weapon, giving her +3 speed and giving her a global Wings of Mercy for her support partner. So this is only applicable to ally partner or support partner that you could have with her, which is going to be 1 unit. And she can just teleport all the way across the map and yeah, just reposition them or smite them or just protect them. So any of those things could be done. And if she's within 3 spaces of the support partner, then she gets +5 to all of her stats during the combat. And she also has the adaptive damage, of course. So yeah, being within 3 spaces of an ally is not the hardest thing to do. You could just smite away your ally support unit out of harm's way. And you know, Lilith can definitely tank. She is a big ball of stats, but nonetheless, she does have some really notable weaknesses. We just have so many Dragon Slayers like Julia, Deidre, Cloud Myogi present in the Divine Codes now, so any kind of dagger unit can have access to it. Thracier, of course. Just so many units and so many potential options, and because she's a flying dragon, she also has a weakness to archers, but that can be patched up with Iot Shield Sacred Seal. And overall, because she's such a big ball of stats due to her weapon, you could afford to run Iot Shield on her actually. And her skills are something which we have seen before, but they do synergize really well with Reposition, which she has got. And Defense Rents Link is of course really nice, and Protect the ally unit. Joint Drive Attack is definitely a highlight here, because not only this can support a ally, but also support Lilith herself and give her more attack. She has got 3 Super Banes, so it's gonna be really hard for you to avoid those, because all of those are in her important stats. And let's be honest, a unit like this is likely gonna be using all of her stats, so any of those Super Banes are definitely gonna be sucking. And Attack Super Boon is actually really helpful. She reaches 40 attack, which is just insane with how fast she is and how like bulky she can get with her weapon. If she was an infantry dragon, she would have an insane amount of options, but because she's a flying unit, she misses out on a lot of really good skills which she would have loved to have. The thing with Lilith is that because she's a dragon, she cannot really run Gale Force, so this Wings of Mercy would have been pretty insane if she could run Gale Force and just swoop in and Gale Force sweep some of the units, but still she can tank a lot of units with this kind of set. So let's move on to some of her builds. The first build is a really budget build. All you need to do is just give her Iot Shield Sacred Seal and Glimmer, and that is basically it. And the second build is for Ether Raids. I could definitely see her being used in Ether Raids because of her Wings of Mercy, the global Wings of Mercy. And in the hands of players, she can be extremely good with her weapon. So this is including the buffs from 1 air and 1 peony. We could also run 2 airs so that you can have a bit more visible resistance. So you could run a build like this. The idea I have with this build is that you will run some kind of Gale Force unit or some kind of hit and run unit like Legendary Leaf. So you just go out there, take out 2 units with that Gale Force unit or Legendary Leaf, and then you just smite away that unit of yours with Lilith, and Lilith can just tank the remaining units. And you could have something like Attack Smoke or Pulse Smoke on that first unit who's gonna go in first, so that they can weaken the enemy, just reset their specials, so that Lilith does not get like nuked by someone like Ophelia. So that could always be done. That's the idea I have with her. If I do get her, then I'll definitely test her out. But still, the dragon weakness is gonna be there. Many Ether Raids defense teams do run dragon effective weapons, so Lilith's life is gonna be pretty hard there. And just please do not run her in Anima season whatsoever. She's gonna evaporate with the sight of Thracier. Just trust me. You could also run Shove actually instead of Smite to make use of the ally support more. So that can always be done. And not only this can be run with a Gale Force unit, but you could also run this with the Air Force strategy in Ether Raid. So for those of you who do not know, everyone does have a single air, and you could get Disarm Trap from the Divine Codes. So the idea is to run Fury on your air with Disarm Trap so that you can go and just get rid of the traps, snipe some units, and in 2 combats with Lifia Burke, she can fall into the Wings of Mercy range for some other Gale Force units to just swoop in and destroy the enemy team. And Lilith can do similar thing, except for the fact that she doesn't need to run Wings of Mercy. She just needs to be in support with one of the Gale Force units, or with air, or even with the Dancer. So any of those things could be done. But still, I haven't really got that far in Divine Code, so I haven't really used that strategy. But I have seen that being used against my own defense teams. You could also use her with a tank unit. So a part of team could be tanked by that unit, and then the other part could be tanked by Lilith after your first tank has been weakened. So any of those things could be done. She definitely has the novelty but I don't think she's gonna be like too broken of a unit, honestly, because the flying status kind of balances out. And as it is, we have so many dragon effective weapons, as I've said 60 million times before. And the final unit from this banner is Forrest. So Forrest definitely got a bit butchered, but he has a super boon and speed, so that could be something for the people who want to invest into him heavily. So you could definitely make him into a decent offensive cavalier. He does have high resistance, so he could definitely take some magical hits pretty easily, but there's really not many options Forrest has got going for him with this kind of stat spread. 32 attack is kind of low in this day and age, to be honest, and the skills which he has got is just why? 5 give Fortress resistance, and that is available on 4-star. Resplaw is not available at 4-star, so yeah, that is fun. But in any case, Forest fans are going to be investing heavily into him, and I've got some builds for them. So the first build is using attack speed push. As I said before, the speed super boon could be really useful if you want to invest into him heavily. 35 speed and attack speed push, which is going to be giving you +7 speed, is not really something to scoff at. And the fact that you could run him on cavalry teams with Honed Cavalry active, he could definitely get pretty fast right there. If you do not want to go with the speed super boon, then attack defense push is definitely a bit better for him, and he's already so tanky in the resistance side. He could definitely take some hits on the defensive side as well with that skill. And if you just want to go with a support build, then you could run Fortress Defense Res to really pump up his defenses and have Sabotage Attack, which is going to be providing some really nice universal support, or just any kind of Sabotage skill can work. Now you could run any kind of staff which you really prefer, but Pain Plus is usually going to be giving you a lot of utility for your general team members, and also going to be providing him with some good damage output. The final unit we have from this batch is Iago. So he doesn't come with Gunanga Gap, he instead comes with Iago's Tome, which is a legendary weapon and gives him +3 resistance, which is nice because he does have pretty workable resistance. And at sort of even numbered turns, if he has got more than 3 HP than the foe, and if that foe is adjacent to another foe, then he inflicts -4 defense and resistance debuff, and also panic status, which is just so useful. So he basically just takes care of both of the formations which you could have with your units. Either have them away from each other or have them together. The latter is going to be happening most of the time. So the secondary effect is obviously kind of similar to Aversa, but only gives -4 defense and resistance debuff, and that is still really respectable, honestly. And his weapon is gonna be so much fun to use. I don't think he's gonna be as useful as Aversa, mainly because like Aversa is like, her main job is in ether rates because she can provide that panic utility. But this kind of thing, this even an art type of thing, may just let you use some of your turns and waste them, so that could be detrimental, because panic is mainly the thing which you need in ether rates for the teams that love to run visible buffs. So against those kinds of teams, Aversa is useful, and even Iago can be useful on those even numbered turns. But as I said, turn limit is in ether rates, so that is going to be a problem. And like, you could use him in some other in-game content actually, because he does pack a bit more punch than Aversa at 38 base attack, so that is really good. The thing with Aversa is that even though she provides utility and she's got amazing movement of a flyer, she just does not pack a punch. But Iago, on the other hand, has that, and he is also an infantry unit, so he could run many of the infantry only skills, and not to mention he could also run infantry pulse to support some allies even more, so that is going to be pretty useful. And I don't think this kind of weapon is too broken. It's just really fun, and like, it could be used with many of the team compositions. The guard status is more so useful in Arena and Arena Assault, where a lot of units have these special accelerating specials. In ether raids, as it is, many units do like to run pre-charged special with infantry pulse teams, so against them guard status does absolutely nothing. So the second effect, which happens on even turns, is a bit more useful, I would argue, than the first effect, but still nonetheless super fun unit to use. I'm glad he got a preferred weapon, so he's at least unique. Not every unit needs to be power crept or insanely powerful, as long as they have some kind of niche, a unique quality, or just fun to use. So his skills are HP attack 2 at 4-star and attack opening at slot C skill, so that is available at 5-star. It's a pretty decent skill for global buff, and an AoE special is actually pretty good with his high attack stat. So I think I'll actually make like a full unit review on him. So his Random battle, I believe, comes out on 12th, so look forward to that. So yeah, that is going to be the review of the patch of this Revelations Units banner. And now let us go over the option of which unit is your best free pick if you do 40 summons on this banner. Now just as a disclaimer, if any of these units are your favorite units, then you should absolutely go for them as your free pick, because getting your favorite units should be your top priority if that's how you play. But if you're not really too sure, then in my opinion, Midori is a pretty strong candidate. Not only she has got some good fodder that some of your favorite units can use, but even as a unit, as I showed you before with some of the builds, she can be really powerful. So Midori, in my opinion, is a really good option. But if you don't really care about Midori or for fodder, then you could like have Lilith as a novelty unit. I don't think she's gonna be too broken, but she could be really fun to use with her Global Wings of Mercy. So these are the two best options in my opinion. Rinkah, in my opinion, isn't really the best free pick, I would say, because we have a lot of Axe Infantry units, and Midori and Lilith can be kind of unique, so that's why I kind of recommend them. Midori first, and then after that Lilith, depending on your preference. So yeah, that is going to be it for this banner review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It helps me tremendously. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can always get the updates to my videos whenever I upload. Because YouTube sub boxes make about as much sense as Midori having higher attack than a fully ribbed woman like Rinkah. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.